Hello, hello. Thank Godot, it's Friday. How's everyone doing? All right. Oh, forgot my lights. I was like, wow, we're looking rather blue today. There we go. It's a little better. All right. How are we doing? Hey, Rhiannon. I am ready for the weekend. It's only been a little over a month since Down to Jam, and we have another game jam next weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend. I'm getting like, I'm mentally preparing myself for that. But anyway, this is Digital Iliad. We're working on some FTL-like games in Godot. I say games because it seems like we got more than one of them now. Someone I would call the FTL light kind of end of the thing. But we're doing it. We're trying to do it. We're trying to do it Chris Z style. We're trying to make something smaller, quicker, get it out. Maybe it doesn't have all the systems we want, but you know, it's something. So we're trying. We're trying it. We're calling it Lo-Fi Flyby. I would consider it a side project, but we were working on it. We spent a lot of time, let me bring it up. We spent a lot of time yesterday looking at the Steamworks page for store presence. Let me grab it here. No, it's not that. Documentation station. What was it we were looking at? It was like graphical assets. Maybe. Store assets. Yeah, we looked at this yesterday a lot about like what's required for a Steam page. We talked a lot about this. Talked a lot about header capsules. Hey, smooth in a second. Talked about the various capsules, screenshots, all the stuff we need. So what I want to do is kind of look at this list and start figuring out what it means to do this. Guess we'll open up Obsidian for a bit. So we were working on the game plan. The game plan is make a Steam page as early as possible, then get a game trailer, and then some kind of vertical slice like a demo. And this quarter we're doing the Steam page. I'm hoping it doesn't take a whole quarter, you know, but we're still working on everything else in the background, but the thing that's taking the lion's share of our time and what we'll mostly be working on stream, I think, for now, is getting something set up for a Steam page. So we can start converting views into wish lists and get that wish list growing. So if we go to the Steam page, so requirements for the Steam page for a coming soon store presence. We already know it's a Steam page. I don't need to say it. So there's two elements. One is going to be art and the other is writing. I never remember how you make these. Here we go. There we are. Capsule art, which is multiple things. We just saw the list. Header capsule, small capsule, main capsule, vertical capsule. Hey, Corolla. Is that it? Were there 4 capsules? Yes. Screenshots. Screen's got 1. Actually, I don't know if I want to make all of these checkboxes. Well, why not? Let's do it. We're trying to enter a kind of an almost game jam like mentality where we are just crunching out the stuff that is need. Just 4 capsules, yeah, and we're gonna do it as one piece of art, anyway. So, one piece of art for the capsule art. Honestly, the screenshots are gonna be probably more work, because I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. We're gonna have to mock them up. Corolla. Very interesting to see a marketing schedule. Personally, you're thinking of getting much closer to the vertical slice before any kind of presence. Do you have like a weird personal prohibition against using social media that you have to loosen up? You do have to loosen that up. No, I saw this. Someone was showing me their game just the other day. The game was incredible. It looked like you could just have published it, you know. And they were like, no, there's more content. There's not enough to do. I'm worried people are going to get bored. This is like a beautiful game about like running. It's like one of those like train horror survivor kind of things. And I'm like, this is incredible. Do you have a Steam page? And they're like, no, I kind of want to finish the game first. That's not literally what they told me, but that was like the vibe of what they told me. Was they were like, I don't feel comfortable making the Steam page until I've basically finished the game. And I'm like, so you're gonna put the Steam page up and then like wait 18 months to release the game so that you can get the wish lists? But yeah, it's tough. Interested to seeing some UI? Me too. Me too. That will be interesting. But yeah, I think the reason I'm pushing it is because I have a social media presence already. Like I have the stream. And I would like to eventually start doing like shorts and stuff like that. But I need a Steam page because right now, I mean, you beautiful, lovely viewers keep coming back, which is wonderful. But like the people that just kind of check it out and move on, we need something. We need wish lists. Hey, Commander. But yeah, I think people are holding back too long to make the Steam page. They're worried. I think people are like, if they feel like their Steam page isn't up to the maximum level of quality that it could be, that I'm actually not sure what the consequences people feel like are going to be, but it's like they're worried that, I don't know what they're worried about, but it's like the reality is someone is going to click on your Steam page and they will look and they will either wishlist or not. And it's like, yeah, the nicer your Steam page is, the more likely they are to wishlist. But it's like, what are you doing to drive traffic to your Steam page too? There's another side of it. It's like, yeah, your Steam page needs to be good, but if no one's looking at it, or even worse, if it doesn't exist, it's like you have there's a bigger problem, or a more immediate problem maybe. But yeah, so capsule art, screenshots. There was some other graphical thing I thought. Page background, bundle assets. This sounds like it's required. guess you do want to launch with like bundles and stuff. That makes sense. Page background, bundle assets. And then there are art overrides, but that's like not an immediate concern. For you mainly, you need new sprites. Everything you have right now is gray box. Samesies. Which is why we're mocking up the screenshots a little bit. But we're making a pixel art game, so it's possible for us to do this. Like, it's possible for me to draw what the game is actually going to look like to play. Which is not something you can do in, like, a 3D game, for example. It is true that you don't need the game to work before Steam page law. Yeah, exactly. You just need it to be representative. If you're, like, hemming and hawing and you're like, well, maybe the art direction is going to go this way, or maybe the art direction is going to go this way, or maybe it's this genre, but maybe it's going to be this genre. Like, you definitely need to iron out a lot of core stuff about your game before you can put up a Steam page, but we want to move fast. And ideally not break anything, but let's see. We want to move fast. We'll say graphical. Let's say graphical assets. I'm going to put textual assets. I don't know what those are yet. I feel like textual is a weird word. I'm going to say written descriptions. I don't actually know what's involved in the written descriptions to make a game page, store page. But these are the requirements. So what we are interested in is the dimensions of these. So the header capsule, can I actually go further but take this part out? Yeah. So we have some dimensions that we're interested in. Rhiannon, maybe people are worried that someone will see the not polished Steam page and then never ever consider the game in the future, even if they see an updated version. At an emotional level, I understand that concern. But the reality is, and this is something I've learned from streaming, the reality is anyone who sees your game or sees your Storm page is almost guaranteed to have never seen it before, right? So the idea that there's people that are going to be like, that you've like lost someone forever because they clicked on your Steam page and then didn't wishlist and then moved on. That's just like an unavoidable fact of life, right? So I get wanting to retain. This is like the sand dripping out of the, dripping is the wrong word, the sand spilling out of the clenched fist kind of situation where you're like, oh, I want to hold on to all this. And it's like, yeah, but I don't know. I get it. I understand why people do it this way. Nanigans, you'd be very surprised if you need a bundle banner unless you were releasing a bundle. Either than that, you have no idea what to make the banner about. The way this looks is that this is just a variation of the title card that actually says what's in the game, maybe. But I'm not even going to worry about that. It doesn't say it's optional. So I'm going to have it on the list, but the reality is it's just going to be the same as our capsule header. Or our capsule. Like, it's going to be identical to the capsule. It's not going to be a different piece of art. And the way we talked about our plan, our background is also going to basically be the capsule. That's something, what we're going to mock up today, I think, is we're going to try to mock up the canvas that we're going to use to draw our capsule. Because we need all these different pieces of these different aspect ratios and sizes and everything. And I think that's what we're going to figure out is like, what is the piece we're drawing? And then what are the crops, like cropping options for the different elements? Hey, Commander with the 15 stream watch streak. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, if there's no Steam page, there's no chance of a wish list. It's very true. Very, very true. All right, 920 by 430. This smaller versions will be generated from this is deeply concerning to me. I need to like dig into what that means. That matters. Rhiannon with the 90 stream watch streak. Yeah, Commander is like, Rhiannon, stop streak mogging me. That's so good. So good. I had someone explain to me what that meant. It's how you know you're old. Is when your terminology is being explained to you. Hey, Sapphire. How's it going? Happy Friday. Nanigans. It doesn't have the required beside it that the other headings have. Do the other ones have required? Oh, you're right. Well, we'll mark that it's optional. I didn't notice this. Because, yeah, the page background is optional, too. So this says optional. Yeah, here's the thing. Here's what I don't understand about this. It neither says optional nor required. But we'll mark that it's probably optional. We also need to think about our typeface, like our logo. But that's like a sub characteristic of the thing. I kind of wanted to do something more than just write lo-fi flyby in my low-res pixel font. But maybe that's asking too much. Maybe that's asking too much. How's it going? Happy Friday, y'all. I'm tired. And I'm mildly concerned about Ludum Dare next week. I don't know why it won't tell me what smaller versions are going to be generated. They do here. Like, help me out. The resolutions matter a lot more for us than for other people because of the pixel art aspect of it. We want to maintain crispness, maximum crispiness. Oh yeah, I wanted to say, so small capsule may, well, how did they phrase it? It's something like may use different art or something. The art in the small capsule does not need to be the same as the other capsules. How does one do this? There we go. Happy Friday, Rhiannon. You're tired. You're also starting to get somewhere with your shader pipeline, so you're staying up late to tinker with it every night. Nice, nice. I stayed up late fighting with QuickBooks last night. I fought an epic battle with QuickBooks. I need to do my taxes this weekend. Out of time. Not gonna be staying long today. No worries, Sapphire. I appreciate you stopping by. Not nearly as satisfying. It was crazy. I think I finally reached the point where I'm gonna look for an accountant for my go forward. I was gonna wait a little longer until, you know, I actually started making money before shelling out for an accountant, but I had such a bad experience with QuickBooks last night. I think I'm just done with Intuit. I am no longer into it. Shenanigans. You think you've known roughly what you're doing for your typography? You think you just want to stylize the fonts you want to use a bit more? And then as per usual, you caveat that all with that you need to see how it looks together with all the other art stuff. Yeah, it's hard with pixel fonts, dynamically sizing things and stuff. Concerned. I'm actually, you know, I have my little font, right? I have my little font that we use, and I call it just the Digital Iliad font. It's simple. It's just a cute little font block. I don't have symbols for everything. Like you'll notice I don't have a $sign. I have a little sigil that I mashed up that basically just it spells out ox. Which was the, you know, closest thing to a fungible currency that you saw in super ancient Greece. And instead of ampersand, I just have et. So this is a janky font and can't really be practically used, I don't think. I'll probably, and it has the additional problem of it's not in perspective. I actually kind of want to make another pass at drawing this font, but to do it in our diametric perspective. Because what I really want, more than I want this for UI, is I want to use this for in-game text. And by in-game text, I mean like the name of something like plastered on the wall of a ship or whatever. But for that, I need to project this into perspective for most cases. So I need to do that. But yeah, this is what we use, obviously, for like, you know, our own stuff, right? Like this is whenever I need text, this is what I use. So I'm probably going to end up just using this for the title, for the typeface. But it is rather boring, so I don't know. I don't know. I haven't decided. But I think for in-game text, I'm probably going to use the silver typeface. Silver is good. It's pretty high res, but I realize that you actually want your UI layer to be at native resolution anyway, just for accessibility reasons. But yeah, it's a pretty nice. Sorry for the flashbang. The real reason I want to use it is it has native support for like other languages. Like, you know, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, like other, you know, alphabets and stuff. Non-Latin characters. And it's got a pretty permissive licensing agreement. The only thing it has is that you need to like reach out for a license. So before I actually do it, I would need to reach out and negotiate some kind of contract. Because they have a free license, but it says if the budget of your production exceeds 100 grand in total spend or earnings, or if you require urgent support, please contact them to. So my only hesitation is if I, you know, wait, make a bunch of money, then, you know, in good faith, reach out to get this license, then I'm basically a hostage, right? Like my options are to either agree to whatever their licensing terms are or rip the font out. So that's my only concern. So I think if I actually were to use this, I would reach out in advance and try to figure out what they're talking about. But yeah, I like this font. Silver. All right, take it easy, Sapphire. See you later. Looks like all the art assets are compressed as JPEG specifically, so there will be a lot of compression artifacts affecting the pixel art too. Ugh. Yeah, I haven't dug into the actual template. You're not having quite a pixel font, just using a more fantasy-looking font, but going to do a custom pass at it to make it slightly more boxy. Okay. That's terrible. All the store assets are JPEGs. I gotta look into some of that. The screenshots are all the minimum. I don't know where to write this. I should say minimum 1920 by 1920 pixels x 1080 pixels. For this one, we'll say we said it was optional. Yeah, I think what I want to do next is figure out what size piece we're going to make. Both in terms of the viewport, like what size canvas we're looking at in game, quote unquote, and also what relative scale we're going to look to produce it at. I think we're going to be looking at the low, like maybe like 180 or something like that. I don't know what that means. It might be something else. I was comparing like the framing to like this piece, which I think we said was like, it's like, this is like a couple hundred across or something. It's like 200 or 300 pixels across. So I figured we would probably end up with a framing for our in-game resolution of something like probably like this. Probably something like this is only like 64 pixels across. But it honestly might be the kind of thing we go for. Because what we want is a really close-up shot. Well, a relatively close-up shot. All right, vertical capsule. What size is the vertical capsule? Thanks for the hydrate, Nix. Hey, Arneo, what is this program you make plans with? You know, up your diagramming and checklist game. It's Obsidian. It's free. Go grab it. It's good for it's got markdown support, you know. So that's how we're doing this stuff. It also has this really neat canvas, which is how I've made like, you know, my little Kanban board. And how I made, you know, my different, like we've done like mood boards with it. Which we probably need to do at some point for lo-fi. We've done, you know, system flow diagrams. This is how we do our roadmap, right? As we work on our side project here. Oh, why did I close the whole thing? Steam page. Your guess is they would let you upload as PNG? Yeah, that's what I would do. That would be my inclination. You're just poking around other game pages and it looks like they're all being served as JPEG. Yeah, I bet. Over Fastly. Okay. It probably does the image compress and passes on its own. Yeah. No, you're the web dev. I trust your judgment. All right, vertical. 748 748 by 896. Okay. We're interested in both the pixels and the like the aspect ratio, but we'll start with the pixels. You love Obsidian, use it as a Kanban as well. Or rather a Jira. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. My implementation for the Kanban is like incredibly limited. I like it as an idea though, because I like that like each of these, if these were meaty cards, I could have each of these cards refer to a note and I could have a bunch of extra info in the note. In practice, I don't ever do that. But I like that I have the option. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, we probably should make Kanban boards for the Steam page. Maybe. I'm not sure. Oh boy, I'm all over the place today. At some point, if I stop being able to work on this stuff, we might go read an article that I was reading before the stream about the so-called golden age of indie game development that we're in right now. I'm gonna say maybe optional. And then the written description, I'm not sure what the actual requirements are for that. It's not exactly a problem for us right now, but kind of curious. Hey nerds, how's it going? Shenanigans. In typical you fashion, you're making your own Obsidian. Wow. Yours is more structured, Git friendly, and data driven. That's nice. That's nice. If you don't get to it in stream, can you post in Discord? You'd be interested in reading? Oh yeah, for sure. I was watching Aramis's latest video. They were talking about it. Where do they talk about the textual requirements of it? All good. Hopefully everyone's doing well over here. Yeah, thanks, nerds. We are working on making a little to-do list for our getting a Steam page up together. We're like looking at the different capsule requirements. I think we're going to sort out what kind of... I'm going to try to do one piece of art that can fulfill all the capsule requirements the way they have it set up in their resource. Where they show like the one painting of Alex that can be cropped different ways for the different capsules. You definitely have more experience with Steam pages than I do. All right. I know people have their own lists of like, here's what you should have on your Steam page. What I'm interested in is like the description. I mean, I don't really care right now because we're not going to do that part right now, but the structure of their documentation is not great. Is it pouring rain still? I was told it wouldn't rain after like 9 a.m. this morning. It's now noon and it's been like pouring rain. And I'm like, I have to go do laundry later, guys. Come on. Mighty Poseidon, please. You hate Steam pages. It's so important, but knowing if you've done a good job feels impossible. Yeah, I'm not super worried about the done a good job part. Some devs were sharing a like AI tool people have been using that like evaluates your store page and makes like recommendations. They've been arguing over that. Yeah, I don't see anything on here that actually talks about that says anything about what the written elements of the Steam page are. And you know, I'm okay with punting on that for right now. I do need to just make my developer account and get that part sorted out and actually just see a literal checkbox like of like what you need to like get this stuff up. Yeah, this says nothing about the text requirements. I know they have requirements, but whatever. We're not gonna worry about it right now. Store page, building and editing. Store page written description. Here we go. I was like, they have to have a page for this. Here we are. Steam dev dashboard shows you info on written things. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to do this without showing those dashboards. I never know with dashboards what I'm allowed to show and what I'm not. Rhiannon, you feel like the indie scene is only going to get more golden as big studios consolidate? Maybe. There's definitely just a move to be more oversaturated. But I feel like there's plenty of appetite. Like I feel like, I mean, if I didn't feel like it was possible, I wouldn't be doing this, right? So there's a short description. Yeah, I'm just going to read this. We're not going to focus on this much now. I know about the short description. It would be a good exercise to go through and write a short description. Focus on your product's unique value proposition. Because like some of these things I've never tried to formalize. Like, what is the unique value proposition of Lo-Fi Flyby? I don't know. I am trying to aim for some kind of like Goldilocks zone in like idle games, because I've been playing a bunch of them, and they seem to fall into two camps. There's idle games where like literally nothing is controllable by you. Like it's truly like you're just along for the ride, and all you can do is like unlock you know, aesthetic upgrades and stuff. Like you can just customize things, but otherwise, and you can maybe steer some kind of passive upgrades like Ropica. Like you can make Ropica better, but you don't directly interact with anything. It's like 100% passive. And then I've played other idle games like Cast and Chill is a good example, or like Rusty's Retirement, where like you pretty much pay attention the whole time. Like it's not really an idle game, because even though it's something that just kind of happens, you have to be paying attention, because stuff happens quickly enough and requires enough input that you're just playing a game. There's none of this like. So I want to make something there where it's a little more opt-in, where like you can sit back and just enjoy it as like, you know, a desktop companion thing. Or you can dig in and make choices and do things. Like you can assume direct control, but you don't have to. But yeah, I don't know. So thinking about this is helpful, because I haven't formally laid out any of this. And I also don't know how I would communicate that to a player, you know? Game is a X where you X plus USP flavor. Yeah. I mean, that's easy for my main game. it was like, what if you had FTL, but it was a little more like RimWorld or something like that. Like it's like I understand that argument or that how to present like my larger game that way. I haven't really thought about lo-fi flyby. Yeah, this would be a good exercise. Speaking of FTL, you're actually playing FTL right now, Nix? Oh, nice. It's been a good decade since you last played it. It's a great game to go back to. Because it's just a good game to go back to. Nanigans, you swear there's a legitimate reason you're building your obsidian, your like obsidian thing. Still heavy work in progress. You can toss that in project thread in Discord too. Yeah, why not? I feel like you mentioned it, but I'd forgotten that you were doing that kind of thing. I know a senior developer friend who's a game dev who always does that. That's all they ever do. They have multiple game projects as well, but I'm always asking, I'm like, hey, what's up? What have you been working on? And they're like, oh, I'm recreating X tool and Y. And I'm like, cool. Is there a reason you're doing that? Is there a reason you need to use X tool and Y? And not just Z? As it was meant to be? I've heard answers of relative quality. You've been playing Into the Breach again? I wish I was more into the Breach. It feels more like a puzzle game to me, and I'm not a puzzle game guy. I've learned about myself that I'm a very vibes-based kind of ambient gamer. Especially as a developer. This has been a weird thing to learn from like doing game jams and stuff. As far as what I seem to prioritize when I make games. Even if I'm doing it like subconsciously. It's kind of interesting. I'm like not a score chaser. Or like a tight mechanical kind of person. Or a puzzler. Or whatever. I'm like a very vibes forward game developer. And obviously I don't mean vibe coding. I hate that that word has been taken from us. Could have taken a shittier word. But we're having our revenge. We're taking the word slop back to refer to like amazing little stupid co-op games. Which is part of the article I was reading. It was talking about these different genres that are in ascendance, and a couple of them are genres we're developing for. So I thought it was an interesting article. Some idle games are about waiting out timers engaging, which could be a good goal for a space trucking game. Yeah, there's going to be an element of that for sure. And so your interaction is going to be in kind of planning your moves if you want. It'll be like oh, I think I could cut through here and buy this here and sell it here, and it would be good, right? Stuff like that. Or like maybe you approach a derelict, and your choice is like, should we go aboard and try to scavenge it, or should we not? And it's like provide decision points for the player. The way Aramis was describing it to me, which was interesting, was about how it's a lot like Diablo. Like his game, the game about feeding a black hole, and a lot of incremental games, which is different than an idle game. But it's about this leapfrog of like, oh no, it takes 2 hits to kill the enemy. Oh yeah, you can one-shot the enemy. Oh no, it takes 2 hits to kill the enemy. Oh yeah, you can one-shot the enemy. And it's like, It's very true that so much of Diablo and Path of Exile style games are like that, of like, you get a little more powerful, then they get a little more powerful. Oh my lord. Z.A. Shaw coming in with the raid. Raid alert, hide the code. How's it going, everybody? Hey, Mystic Serpents. If you can use Lo-Fi as a Pomodoro, that would be great. I also want to do something like that. I definitely want to do that. I want the game. It's dangerous to do that, but I want to make the game many things for many people. Kind of open to the different ways you might want to engage with it. How's it going, Zed? What have you been up to? How's the game going? It's going okay from a technical standpoint. I can show off some of the gray boxed tools and stuff we're working on. We're trying to switch into a new phase of development that I'm calling screenshot driven development, where we kind of set our systems and our gray boxes to the side for a bit, and we work on things like, what's the capsule art? What are some like nice, beautiful shots of the game? What does the UI look like? Finalize some visual stuff. But yeah, I'm Digital Iliad. We're working on some FTL-like games in Godot. I'm a solo developer. How was your stream? What have you been up to? Yeah, we'll show some of the technical stuff as soon as we're done building, I guess. What's going on in here? Here we go. Loading the project. There we go. Almost done. But yeah, we're trying to make a kind of like stacked kind of 3D variant on FTL. I probably did something that's gonna break. Oh, that might be okay actually. I would not be surprised if I did something that just absolutely breaks it every time. Yeah, I did. Well, we'll see. Let's see if we can actually pull this demo out. Select comp X. Select buffer X. Select comp Y. I changed something about the setup. I can change it back, I think. You went well, mostly random stuff. Should have put in the just cat chatting category for sure. Oh, we have somebody to ban. Got a spam bot snuck in. Let's load the photon torpedoes. Ready? Aim. Fire.
He's dead, Jim.
He is. All right, so if we don't do that, and then we don't do this.
Logic was impeccable, Captain.
Oh. Let's try this. I was messing around with the block-based selection drawing, and I kind of gave up on it a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we have a very gray boxed approach right now of building out this space. A lot of these tools are working really well, but we've kind of paused the development on them for a bit so we can work on developing the visual style. But the idea of the tool is building out these sealed compartments that make up the different parts of the ship. You know? And we have an auto tiler that handles rendering. We have a cutaway system that lets us, you know, maneuver around so that we can see into these. We have a flood filling so we can tell, you know, where the rooms are. A bunch of the different stuff. So if I seal this up, we can start using our cutaway system. But yeah, I needed to put a pin in this because I think we need to just push the visual direction a little harder. And the main goal is to get a Steam page up this quarter. Yeah, there's a pretty neat system for navigating these sealed ship compartments. You can kind of just scroll through walls to see what's behind them, and then walk over into other rooms. It's kind of a deal. So this is some of the technical tooling stuff that we kind of put on hold for a bit while we work on some different things. Hey, Kubi Man, what's up? Hey, Riddick99, thank you for the follow. Yeah, but this is the kind of thing. This is the kind of thing we're working on. When we're not getting distracted. We have a game jam next weekend, which is going to definitely sap some of our time and attention. But yeah, I've decided to put some of this work on the back burner. We have a game plan that we set up, kind of like a Space Sims idea, kinda. Our big inspiration is FTL, Faster Than Light, which we're kind of doing kind of a isometric 2D take on. Like, you can see my background is like a style guide for drawing that sort of a thing, of like these little low pixel duders in these compartmentalized spaceships, kind of in the spirit of FTL, but probably slowed down. And yeah, a little more Sims like, maybe a little more RimWorld-y, I would maybe call it. It's not really about building your ships. That's not really the game. The game is more about the crew and the systems and handling that. I just ended up needing to make that tool for myself, right? I'm thinking of ways to make that usable in the game, like as far as like maybe you can upgrade systems and rearrange things. But yeah, this is our big inspiration. We are working on, right now we're working on a side project. So I have big plans for all this. Too big. Do you have a good method on how to create your own color palette for the game? I did create my own color palette for the game. I've tried out different ones. So if I kind of just open whatever, what's something that has my palette in it? This does. So if you look, I kind of made my own palette. I ended up trying to do, you know, the right thing of, if you watch this, you kind of go up and you do a bit of hue shifting. And I kind of ended up trying to make a bunch of my own ramps. I don't love this. I'm thinking about switching to some pre-made palettes, because this is kind of nice, because whenever I feel like I need a new ramp, I just add a new ramp. But I end up having colors that are like very similar, where you're like, oh, this is like a yellow green and this is like a blue green. Or I have this kind of weird ramp that's like almost fleshy toned, but not quite fleshy toned. Like, I didn't do a particularly good job on this one. It's a little too yellow. So I don't have a good method. I'm actually kind of torturing myself over whether I should keep following this path or I should use a bigger palette like Zenit 241 or like Dual or some of the big palettes. I mean, I would definitely look at low spec for inspiration. Lowspec.com. It has all the palettes you could ever want to like look at and see, and they have a whole tool here. Yeah, palette creation is something I agonize over for sure. Yeah, I would check this out. Lowspec.com. What do you think about straight up putting your inspirations in the written descriptions? You've heard people go plus and minus on this. Yeah, I could see. I think in the longer description, there's maybe some argument where you could get into that. I mean, it's what nerds, Tuner Nerds said. They were like, you say game is X, but you Y or something like that. Game is X plus Y, and that gives you Z, which is our game, which is sick. I think that's a strong, short way to describe something, for sure, One silly idea, what if all the colors turned indigo, purple, violet in the last 3 darkest steps in different color ramps? I got close to that. So all of these go ramp into like, I think I can just go to dark, go to like black from here, from any one of these. But yeah, that's something that I don't have a lot of color theory strength. So all of my ramps are super linear. There's a little Q shifting, but no one ramp like leads into another ramp or branches off to form another ramp. I'm like a programmer who just happens to be doing pixel art. is like, actually, I don't consider myself a programmer either. I'm a game dev who happens to need to do all of these things. But I wouldn't consider myself particularly good at any of it. Hey, no Jewel. Aw, the streak. People often mention the verbs. What verbs define your game? Your description should probably include those. I think that's a good idea. Hey, Magoo. Hey, Mystic Serpents, thank you for the follow. But yeah, we have this big roadmap for our big FTL-like game. We've been working towards this alpha MVP launch for a long time. We kind of got stuck in tool development hell for a long time. So we put almost all of our attention into this tile block editor, which is the tool that I demoed. We really need to move on to like simulating the shipboard behavior of like, here's how power moves through the ship. Here's how oxygen moves through the ship. Here's how characters move through the ship, you know? But I see this whole endless set of things to do, and I want to do a small project. I want to make a small kind of idle game kind of project I'd call an FTL light. And that's kind of what we've been talking about. That's what we've been looking at, is switching gears and working on something that's only going to take a year or two to build instead of something that's, going to take probably another 4, 5, or 6 years to build. We want to make something small, so we're switching to a little side project, a little deviation called Lo-Fi Flyby, which is like a small scale kind of like cargo ship kind of little idle game that I have in mind. And we've been looking at that. We've been switching to what I call screenshot driven development this week. It's a real pivot from like systems driven development or whatever you want to call it. I want to start focusing a lot more on refining the art direction, because I haven't gotten to work on art very much at all. We've mocked up like an initial pilot character and an initial animal companion character. So we have like something like this, something like a Ellen Ripley style character. I haven't quite decided what outfit I would want as the default, but I'm gonna try some different ones. I gave her Deanna colors, which I like, but like a weird kind of cat-like creature we've been mocking up, which I think would be fun. But yeah, continue our super low res presentation. I really love this silhouette. This is probably what I would use. Well, I don't know. We've been thinking about what we're going to use for the capsule art. We've been looking at mocking up the capsule art. So we like laid out how we would make the Steam page. Shoot those screens. Arnio, you've heard that's how they pitch movies to studios. Like it's Frankenstein meets Twilight. You probably don't want to advertise that to like yours. No, I think you want to have an elevator pitch that is like that. You really always need to have that. I know we're in an ad break. Sorry. You have to have that. And for the big game, for me, it's been like, what if FTL met like RimWorld or something? But yeah, I don't quite know how to talk about that for Lo-Fi Flyby, and maybe I need to. Maybe I need to do some serious thought on that. Nanigans, sorry, I missed your stuff. We're in ads over on Twitch, so maybe I can catch up on it now. You're kind of making your own Obsidian alternative because you're finding there's some limitations you don't like. You want structured data you can use for data for your game. Oh, interesting. Interesting. You also want to use it for planning D&D campaigns, doing world building stuff, and being able to layer visual tools on top for doing things like dialogue trees, weapon balancing, comparing classes, combinatorics. That's interesting. you want to make your palette look a bit more rich, you can shift hues slightly as you change brightness. Typically, you go closer to blue as you go darker and warmer as you go lighter. That's what I did when I did my hue shifting. So if we go back to here, this is also the low... Oh, maybe this isn't. I actually don't know if this is the high res or the low res version. I think this is the low saturation. I made a low sat version of the palette and a high sat version of the palette to like easily be able to distinguish between foreground and background. And so far that has been the best thing about it. So yeah, so here's the high saturation version of that same palette. And it's crazy by comparison. But yeah, you can see that we start cooler and we drift warmer generally as we go up. Maybe that's not the best example. This is probably better. Where's a good example? I don't know. I don't know what a good example is. But yeah, this is a very bluish green, and by the end of it, we get much more of a yellowish green. So I do a little bit about that stuff, but I don't know color theory. I don't have a lot of experience. I can look at this and be like, this is kind of okay. But I don't know. I'm kind of souring on the idea that I'm going to be able to make my own palette and be happy with it. I think I'm more interested in just trying to use another palette like the Zenith. This palette is pretty big. It's pretty good. You know, I'm weird. I like to look at my palettes in one dimension. This is the palette I've been using for sketching out our little lo-fi characters. I'm also tempted to maybe try Dual. Those were kind of the finalists when I was looking for palettes. I don't actually know if I have Dual on here. Oh yeah, I do. Dual is cool, but it's a lot more linear. Kind of interested in this palette as well. But yeah, right now Zenith is the one I'm really interested in. Zenith 241. I think it's pretty strong. I think it's a pretty strong palette. It's a little light on like actual red. Like the closest it gets is this almost like burgundy color. But I'm okay with it. This is a pretty convincing red, I guess. They're very, I would almost say muted reds, but everything else about it's great. It's got some grays, which are nice to have, some different grays. Lots of cool colors for space. Skin tones as well. Yeah, what we've been doing is we've been focused on this game plan. For anyone who's still left with us after the break here, we have a game plan for this year that we set in place after GDC, the Game Developers Conference, which is always, for now, in March. It keeps creeping up. I feel like it's in February before long. But there's always the Game Developers Conference in March each year here in San Francisco. And that is always a reset point for me for what am I going to do for the next year. And we've had this game plan. We've had it in place for a few years now. We've never managed to hit it. But now that we've scoped down to this smaller game, we're really trying to hit it this time. We really want a Steam page up this quarter, Q2. We really want a game trailer after that and a demo by the end of the year. So we are cooking. And we talked about it yesterday. I am taking a very game jam approach to this. I don't know why I minimized that. I need that. Of just no more of this open-ended systems development exploration kind of stuff. We need to focus up. I think we've figured out enough that we can push in that direction, at least for this smaller game, for quite some time. So we've been focused on the requirements for a coming soon store presence. So here are the graphical assets. We're looking at, we talked about this a lot last time about the capsule arts that we need, screenshot stuff. I kind of want the first screenshot to be like the capsule art, but exterior capsule art. Like scene with an exterior cutaway. Say an exterior cutaway. So I kind of want a shot, kind of like what we're going to do with the capsule art, but instead of it being this kind of ambient spacey look, it actually cuts away the rest of the ship and you can actually see the structure of the ship. I think that would be neat. I do want a shot that's like oh my god, what did I do? I want a shot of the ship. I want a shot of the game in desktop companion mode. So like shown small and like in the corner of an actual desktop. I want at least one of those, if not more. I also want like a shot of like the like galactic, I don't know what to call it, the like galactic trade navigation menu of like here's the kind of strategic layer of the game of like picking up cargo or passengers someplace and then going somewhere else. Like I feel like the easiest thing to include in this game would be that part of the menu of like the systems jumping of like, oh, you could jump here or you could jump here. You could plot a course here. You could pick up, you know, self-stealing stem bolts here and sell them for this over here, or trade them for this over here and then sell those over there. And maybe stuff would come up of like, ooh, you've encountered a derelict spaceship. Do you wanna scavenge it or something? The vibe is very much Firefly. Should that be the X meets Y? Should I just be like, this game is FTL meets Firefly? Is that evocative? Is that adequately evocative? What were you thinking for story, actually? The story is not... The story is like... Because it's like an idle game, the story beats are going to be kind of environmental. It's not going to be so much... there isn't going to be like this plot that you like go through. I mean, maybe we can do that eventually, but I would say my ideas for story are very much take a light touch and then just do some environmental storytelling to like get people familiar with like the world. Maybe do some character-based stuff, but it would be just incidental stuff that you pick up in like dialogue of like, oh, you hired a crew member. That crew member maybe has like short conversations with like the other character sometimes or something. I'm gonna go write down FTL meets Firefly or something. Because I do need to communicate that it's not a very combat-heavy version of the game. Lo-fi flyby, at least. I'm hoping the flyby part communicates the extent of the passivity, and that the lo-fi part also communicates an element of, like, the ambience. So where's the roadmap? Idle game. Oh, I already say FTL light. I don't know where to put the elevator pitch. I think I'm going to put it in here. Is it not wide enough? Does this not center itself? Why isn't this centered? Why is it left aligned? I guess that's the only choice. Maybe I won't do that. Nix, you're so annoyed. You had 2 10% scrap recovery arms. Ooh, that's really good. Especially if you got it early, which you said you did. You had level 4 shields by zone 2. And you got bulldozed by a nebula turning off the med bay and getting intruded. Oof, such is life. Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts about FTL is how easy it is to be surprised. Like, everything is going great until it's not. And it turns on a dime, your fortunes. I've been playing Void War, and Void War has that too, but at like a crazy scale, to the point where I like only play one sector whenever I sit down to play Void War because it's so touchy. I don't know what I'm doing right now. We were gonna look at the Steam page. So the short description is a thing. I'm not going to go into the details for this right now. We were just trying to compile the requirements. So the details are in the about this game. Yeah, I would be hesitant to invoke specific other properties in the short description. As nice as it is to just say it's FTL meets Firefly or something like that. I think you want to have that kind of a elevator pitch for when you're talking about the game, but I think when you do the actual short description, you want to be a little different. You want to do it a little differently than that. Yeah, you want to do what nerds, the nerds were talking about, of like focus on like the verbs. What is it that players do in the game, right? I don't think you need to go around. I don't think you need to be so explicit as to be like, this is what's unique about my game. I think if you describe what the game is like, if it's unique, people will figure that out. Mentioning the genre seems like a good thing. I don't know if I'd want to say idle anywhere. I don't know if I'd want to lean into and say, this is an idle game, you know? Because idle is not a genre in Steam officially. It's called a casual indie simulation is what people usually do. It's just 3 different genres. We may or may not add strategy to that for this. I think for this, is space a genre? I guess we would say space. I think for lo-fi, we would say like casual indie space simulation. And then for the main game, working title, you know, Digital Iliad, whatever, we'd probably say something like indie space simulation strategy. Like we would remove the casual and put in strategy. But again, I don't think that's something you literally say. I've heard that Steam can have some really, really nitpicky edits. For these. So is it literally just the short description and then the about this game section? Interesting. I'm not going to dig into that. We're focused on kind of the visual design element more than we are the written element for now, but a casual space for indies in space, yeah. Tired of living on Earth? Come join us in space. Get to the point. That's funny. Yeah. No formatting is interesting. Stay under 15 megabytes total file size. So how do you upload this part? More formatting options include both written copy and embedded images, such as screenshots or looping GIFs. Yeah, we'd have to work on the GIFs, which is, again, not something we'll have straight away, but... Keeping it short, this is where, like, bulleted points. They love bulleted points with, like, specific features and shit. Rules. No links. Cannot use your store page descriptions or graphical assets to promote or link to other websites. Cool. Dota2.com. No graphical assets that mimic the Steam user interface. That's funny. No advertising other games via your store page description. Okay. I think that's enough information for now. So we have this information. I want to figure out what the aspect ratios are for some of these. So, like... How do I figure this out? I have to find the lowest common divisible number here. This is going to be hard. I'm going to struggle with this. Maybe I don't need to know the aspect ratio. Maybe we'll use the actual... Let's see here. I mean, so what actually might be helpful for us is actually just dividing this by like 10 for this one. 92 by 43. Because that's actually like a somewhat realistic. So what I want to do is I want to make like a big canvas here. Let's just make some big file. Something that will definitely be bigger than what we need. I mean, I guess 256 by 256 is bigger. I want something taller than wide because that's what we need. Something like this. And then what I want to do is start making boxes. So we'll make some kind of background. Let's just load Zenit. Well, maybe not Zenit. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's fine. Maybe no one cares. I'll load my palette. Classic 92 by 43. It's crazy, no Jewel. These get so stupid. Like the small capsule is 460. At least this one's divisible by 10. Like 462 by 174, which gets reduced down to 120 by 45 and 184 by 69 exactly. Super annoying. So the problem for us is there's like, we really do need to know the ratio here, which I guess it's easy to get the ratio. I don't know how to get it in like the right proper, you know, 16 by 9 or whatever. But what we need to do is we need to kind of look at these resolutions, look at these ratios, figure out what piece of art we could make that would be big enough to satisfy all of this in a way that doesn't suck. Go back to the graphical assets for the store graphical. Did I miss anything here? No, not really. Okay. Store page extra asset management. What is that? Oh, here's the stuff that maybe you were talking about. Are you going to make pixel art on stream? Definitely excited to see that if yes. We will. We're working our way up to that. We'll probably mostly do that tomorrow. Probably do a little of it today. If I can settle on a canvas. No, Joel. Kenny has a tool for making the pictures for Steam resolutions, you think? Oh. Kenny, Steam resolutions. I don't know. I don't know what to Google search for that. I don't know what that would be called, but that would be cool. This is Kenny, right? Or is this someone else? This is someone else. Kenny. Here's Kenny. Tools. Starter kits. Kenny has too much stuff. I'm not going to be able to figure that out. So that's cool. I'll keep an eye out for that. You wouldn't worry about making your pixels line up perfectly with the bounds of the different versions you need. Instead, you would look at it as a frame cropping your pixel art. That's what I'm looking at it as. I'm just looking at how to reason about it. It's not going to line up perfectly. Because, like, you know, we're not going to just crop down to the resolution we need. Because like the header capsule here is a larger resolution or is a smaller resolution than like the main capsule. But this isn't, the header capsule is not cropped in from the main capsule. In fact, the opposite is true. The main capsule is actually cropped in tighter than the header capsule. So they solved this with down res. So yeah, what I should do is I should just make a box. So I'm just trying to figure out how to make a box at a given aspect ratio here, and then make it work. So I think I'm just gonna probably plug it into here. Here, I'm gonna make this bigger. I definitely didn't plan how to do this in advance. Do I just load the high sat one? That's not what I wanted, but okay. I'm gonna make this canvas bigger. I'm gonna make it. We do want it to probably be about this. We do probably want it to be tall. Maybe not 2:1, but we definitely want it to be tall. Can you post links? Yeah, go for it. Go ahead. Make my day. That was rough. My voice is struggling a little bit. Yeah, I think the easiest thing for me to do is to just make frames at that size and then just arrange them. So I want to make a canvas that's bigger than any of the frames that I've seen. And then what we'll do is we'll scale them. We'll set it up at this scale. So we'll make a layer. Say like header capsule frame. Say like a small capsule frame. I know we can use different art for the small capsule. We'll try to do it with just a reframe. But obviously we're free to, you know, rearrange elements. So header capsule, small capsule, main capsule, frame. Vertical capsule frame. So if you remember, the composition I'm generally going to be going for is like probably Ripley seated with like Jonesy like in her lap at the flight controls. So seated at the flight controls, and that's like the center. And then around her will probably be like, you can see part of like her cabin. And this will all be seen through the canopy from outer space. So through the flight deck canopy. Which is going to be tough. Because our aspect ratio, or our aspect ratio, our perspective makes that kind of hard to do. But we'll figure it out. Background. I don't remember what they called this. Background something. Background page. Page background. Frame. And bundle assets. Frame. We're going to put this in here. I know it's potentially optional. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all of these in at native size. And then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of scale them down. Like we'll normalize them essentially, right? To an extent. Let's save this as lo-fi, live by, capsule art. Here's a screenshot of the tool. Game assets all in one. Update version 3.3. Oh, there's a screenshot of the tool in here. Generate store assets, I see. Oh, this makes a bunch of decisions about framing and everything. I actually think this is a pretty neat approach. You give him a background image, you give him like a foreground character, and you give him a logo, and he like arranges it all for you. This is neat. This is neat. I think we're going to be a little bit more manual about the layout, but I think it's neat. Should we also make like a lo-fi flyby title? Yeah, do that later. I think it's going to end up being very simple. All right. So the part of this I don't love. So what colors will we pick? We'll do RGB and then purple. We'll just go down the list. Make sure it's not too confusing. So what I want to do is so the header capsule, we said, I didn't finish elucidating. I don't actually know what I want to do with the last couple of screenshots. I know I very much want a shot that's like the capsule, but it's got a cutaway of the interior and you can see in the ship and see everything that's going on. I think that would be neat. I want a shot of the game in desktop companion mode. So like with, like in the small bottom side, like in the corner, you know, it's downsized and you can see the whole rest of the desktop. Do some stuff like Ropica did with that. I think that would be neat. And then do a shot of the Galactic Trade navigation menu. Probably another shot of like loading, unloading, maybe loading, maybe moving stuff within the cargo hold. In and out of. Maybe moving stuff around the cargo hold would be a good shot. I don't know what I would want the last screenshot to be. Oh, you know what it would what it should probably be? Customization, unlockables menu. Customization and unlocks. Purchase menu. I don't know. Like how do you purchase and buy customizations and stuff? Like what are the things you can customize probably? Or maybe it'd be more interesting to show a placement. I don't know. That's an initial idea. I should probably have started with the thing that I would like the screenshot to communicate rather than just describing the actual scene. But, I don't want to have too many menu screenshots, but I think having a couple of the unique things of like this is where you navigate the trade and your directions and stuff, right? How you move decide where you're going next, and then another one of like all the stuff you can unlock, which will actually be hard because we'll actually have to mock up all the shit that you can unlock. But yeah, let's make things. Let's make some frames at this resolution. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale them and then reposition them. I think we'll do that. Try to normalize all the different framings. So 920 by 430. This is kind of the stupidest way that I can do this, but it's also easy. 920 by 430. So we'll do this and then we just stroke. I should probably pick my stroke color. I don't know what size this thing is anymore. What the heck happened? Here we go. Can I just say... I don't know which of these is which. This is size, right? So I can say 920 by 430. Totally understand how those can be at half positions, but all right. So 920 by 430. Give that like a stroke color here. Probably should have given it more of one, but that's fine. Can't even see it. There we go. So like here's the framing for the header capsule. We'll have to scale it down. I think I'm going to draw them all out and then just... What I should do is probably make another one here that's like approximately... I guess we'll figure out what size, what scale, not what scale. We'll figure out what the canvas we want it to be. We'll say like capsule art canvas. Put that at the back. So the main, so that was the header capsule is about that. So the small capsule is 462 by 174. Can I? There we go. So yeah, notice that this is much smaller, but like even wider. Main capsule. $1232 by 706. How does one scale up and down a whole thing here? If I wanted to take this, probably do like this. Click on that. And then if I wanted to scale this without changing anything else, how does one do that in Sprite? Shift? Okay, Shift seems to do it. Probably have to scale it down and then refill. Oh, that sucks. Okay. I see the problem. So we would need to add... do that. This is kind of dumb. There we go. Something like this. Do that, and then now I could shift, click, shift, and then now when I scale it, I scale it proportionally. Although lose my ability to like make sense of what's going on. Oh, and then I messed it up. Oh, and then I messed it up. Okay. Visibility is definitely, maybe I should have fill instead of stroke. Easier. It's going to be easier to see and also work with. We do that this way. Oh my lord. How did that happen? All right, main capsule. I know this is like deeply boring. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I think until it all of a sudden gets very exciting, this is going to be some tedious work ahead of us here. I think painting the actual scene is going to be really fun. Just figuring out what we're looking for is. I don't want to just start painting the scene open-endedly and then just hoping that I manage to make it the right size and scale and aspect ratio and everything. I want to at least put some work into nailing that. My coffee died. I left my coffee lid open, and I think my coffee died. Excuse me. If I sound tired and unfocused, it's only because I'm tired and unfocused. I hope everyone else is doing good. Still good second screen content. I appreciate that. All right, so here's this one. So these are all going to probably be similar framings. I've colorized it now, but what we'll probably do is make some kind of a mask or something. This ain't Photoshop. Not that I know how to use Photoshop. All right, 748 by 896. We'll put this one at the back, maybe. 748 by 896. So this is probably going to be our main framing. The vertical. That's probably the kind of approximate size of our canvas is going to be this. And then we'll probably crop these others down to like fit into it. But we'll still need to reduce all of this down to the actual pixel resolution we want to render out to. Which would have been a better starting point than this, but we'll do the same thing here. We'll pick a size for the capsule art canvas. Once we've gotten these to be all kind of approximately the same. You don't find it boring? It's borderline co-working ASMR for you? Good. Okay. As long as you're happy, I'm happy. Probably not the most exciting to hook in new viewers, though. You know, that's okay. In the long run, the work we're doing now, the screenshot-driven development stuff that we're doing now is going to be a force multiplier in the future. I mean, one, we're going to start collecting wish lists, which is huge. But two, you know, we'll have something to point people to. We'll have some more strong visuals. You know, right now, all I can do is show our gray box tool or just collapse everything down to the desktop and look at the style guide, right? And we talked about this. This style guide is 3 years old. Almost, not quite. August of 2023 is when I made this piece. I made this piece on vacation I wasn't on vacation for a couple of weeks, but I did most of it while on vacation. I think the whole process took a couple of weeks. So I think our capsule art will take a few weeks. I think our screenshots will take a few weeks. So our only requirement is that we post the screen page by June 30th of this year. Should I look up how many days till June 30th? Will I just immediately have a panic attack? $81 days. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, that's a little scary. Around the world in 80 days. A Steam page in 80 days is what we need to do. Steam page in 80 days. We also have Ludum Dare and then maybe the solo development jam. So we're actually also going to lose some productive days doing that. Those green ones looked Windows a bit. Mystic. Oh, yeah, these green panels in the back. They're supposed to be like computer screens, which was actually kind of hard to render. I'm not totally happy with them. Thanks for hanging out, Mystic. Appreciate it. Nix, you always thought those were some kind of vents with lights coming out of them. Interesting. Sci-fi club vibe. Yeah, I definitely... This is not the sort of scene that you're ever going to see in the game. Like, there isn't going to be a bridge with, like, you know, a dozen people in it. That's, like... That's higher than probably the character count's going to be for, like, a single ship, generally. But this was the vibe. And we tried to do, like, an Enterprise-style central bridge crew thing. But I'd be interested to try different styles. I'd be interested to try the Star Wars recessed bridge thing, you know, where they always have those, they have those walkways one level up, and then everyone working was like down in the pits on, like, you know, a Star Destroyer or whatever. I'd like to try one of those. I think that'd be cool, especially because of our verticality. It'd be fun to try. But yeah, I am excited to work on the art more. It was fun to just throw together some early designs for our characters, for our initial set of characters. Our lo-fi girl plus cat companion, which is like, seems obligatory to be the defaults. And it also seemed equally obligatory to make them Ripley and Jonesy from Alien. Next, you got a Vulcan with an auto reloader. After 5 shots, that's going to be like 1 shot a second. That's pretty cool. That's going to be pretty gross. Yeah, in my Void War run right now, I went through the portal that like raises the difficulty, and I was like, why did I do this? I'm not powerful enough for this. I forgot that's what that portal did, and I just like saved and was like, I'll pick this up later. Someday I'm gonna play Void War and I'm gonna like defeat the like zone 1 mid boss that they throw in your face just to mess with you. That's like impossible to beat. I actually don't remember if it's zone 1, but it's like an early zone like mid boss ship that you might encounter sometimes. That's like, do you have a broken build already? Try your luck. I love that. I love that kind of opt-in challenge. Arneo, you did that in like your first 5 runs without realizing what a bad idea that was. Yeah, I was tempted. It's hard to not do that. It's hard to not see. It's hard to see a portal in space and not want to go through it. That's like when you learn when you're playing D&D, eventually you learn that like not every challenge that you're presented with is something you are meant to take on. Like there is an element of like, especially if it's like an older adventure, like if you're doing like Tomb of Annihilation or something like that, which I know isn't older, but it's reminiscent of older. I've definitely had moments where I've fucked around and found out. I think everyone has. And I think FTL and Void War are full of those moments. Maybe a Void War more than FTL. All right, what are we doing? We're looking at the page background. Here we go. 1438 by 810. 1438 by 810. Okay. Oh, wait, I didn't finish the vertical one. F. Go. All right, so we're going to try to normalize these. I should probably center my view or add a centered grid or something, so I can see where the center is. What the? Okay. Page background. All right, page background. What did we say? 1438 by 810. What's happening right now? There we go. 1438 by 810. Interesting. So this is the background. So these are all screen resolutions for final pieces. But what we're just doing is we're gonna assemble these as framings. I'll probably make these layers semi-opaque so that I can actually see, maybe. We can arrange these. And what I'll need to do is I'll need to pick a capsule art canvas size that works for us at our resolution that we can. So my idea, toss together a quick summary and screenshots of how your content editor tool is looking so far. Oh, sick. Well, let's take a look at that in a couple minutes. We'll be in ads. I would like to take a look at that. Ad break showcase. Oh yeah, that was an idea we had for like a stream redeem, right? It was like a showcase. I'd probably write it as a witness me channel redeem. Witness me. And I'll just like look at like a showcase entry or something, or do a chili update or something. Maybe we should do something like that. Okay, kind of fun. I do acknowledge I need more ways for regulars to use their channel points. All right, so bundle asset. What is this one? This is the last one. What's this one? 707 by 232. Okay. Oh, not what I wanted, but fine. $707,232. Oh my god. 707,232. Let's get rid of the fractional positions here. I guess I can put these back in order since they're semi-transparent. So the header is first, then the main, then the vertical, then the page background, then the bundle asset. We'll put the canvas in the back. Oh. Yeah, so I think the general idea is kind of like how they do it here, where we're going to do a tall thing. Chili update. She's a cutie. Nice. She also started to snooze in the cloth basket in the bathroom. Oh, that's funny. Not your, like, laundry basket, though, right? I know they love that stuff. All right. We're in ads. Let's go see what Nanigan's talking about here. I'm very interested. Is there a way to break this out? Open in full view. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Sorry, the text is like very small. I don't think there's anything I can actually do about that. A flexible, more structured alternative to Obsidian. Yet another one of the various projects you've got going on. Yeah, this is your what, like... Is this your second or third thing in the project discussion? Third. I'm so worried about having too many projects. That's like my day job is like having like a million different projects because I'm told that like I should do this and then I'm told to reprioritize and do this and then I'm told to go do this instead. I have so many projects at work. I try so hard not to do that for my game dev. Well, the UI looks slick, which is not surprising. You're like a very skilled web dev. Why not use Obsidian? It being fully markdown based has a few limitations, requires weird hacks to work around. Harder to parse data, sure. Hard to guarantee data consistency. Referencing data across documents, other than just basic links, is clunky. Interesting. You nip out. All right. Take it easy, Arnio. Holding on to your ads. Okay, good, good. Yeah, the laundry basket, exactly. Interesting. Due to how Obsidian stores its folder structure, it's a bit clunky collaborating on a shared vault over something like OneDrive. Oh yeah, I do like putting my Obsidian vaults just in OneDrive, but I don't collaborate with anyone. So what you want from your tool, you want it to plan out your content for your game. And use that directly as raw data. It's pretty neat, pretty neat. Plan out D&D campaigns, general world building. Visualization tool, I'm curious to see. Like dialogue quest event trees. Comparing classes' abilities, assisting game balance. You want to make sure it plays well with Git, as well as things like Google Drive. Lots of control over the layout of pages. This is very quickly, like, almost like a kind of game engine / like, wiki thing. Document templates are specified with JSON. The documents themselves are JSON. Indexing and various other things are handled in an SQLite database and app data outside the project folder. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. I like the idea. I'm having some frustrations specifying my texture atlas formats in JSON. I'm trying to set up. I need to figure out a more general way of framing them. This seems cool. I'm very interested to see how this works out. Give that a ship it. All right, that was our ad break. Oh, Corolla shared their Obsidian Jira. That's kind of cool. It's pretty neat. I like this. That's cool too. Yeah, the way they do it here is they have this big, tall piece of art. It's even wider than this. You can kind of see if you keep your eye on this set of blocks. Oh, and it goes lower. So they have this big piece. It's a bit wider than this, and you can see when they do this version of the capsule that it's a little wider than even the vertical one. You can also see it goes a little lower than most of the others. So they have a framing somewhere around here for the vast majority of them, in the closer to the foreground. But they have the vertical part. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do something like this. Obviously, you just keep moving the title around. I guess that's gonna partly determine the size of the piece, but the title is gonna be blown up to the point where that doesn't really matter, I think. The thing we want to make sure is that for our canvas, for what we draw, we want it to be low, quote unquote, low res enough that the crispness of the pixel art is retained as much as possible, which is going to mean doing something where like one pixel is like many pixels in the final image, just so that as they down res, you don't lose too much, because they were going to be down resing all the way to 120 by 45 and 184 by 69. Which is fine, but that does suggest to us a kind of lower bound. So we'll probably do something wider than 120, but not by much. Not by much. Might even want something even smaller. I don't know. I'm concerned about the small logo, the small capsule, especially. But the small capsule might be like heavily zoomed in on like Ripley and Jonesy, especially. Just kind of draw people in with the art style from that. I don't think we're gonna go for this blurry kind of look, but maybe we will. Maybe we will. We'll probably have to try different stuff before we decide what we think we like. Did I do the rest of them? I did. So yeah, what I'm thinking of, at least on a rough level, that's what I was trying to say. I think what we're gonna do is we'll have Ripley and the cat in the cockpit and all that. The main central view will be like down here. And so we can do most of the croppings around here, similarly to what they're doing. And then we'll have the vertical capsule that will see the background, and the background will be like some kind of stellar body kind of deal. Maybe a star in the background, maybe some planets. Maybe it'll be like a solar system view or something. All the stuff in the background stretching off into the distance. And then the background, the page background, will probably be that upper section by itself. So like most of the capsules will be down here, be locked in down here with this lower part. Maybe some of them cropped in extremely tightly. Maybe. But they'll mostly be down in the lower half of the image. The vertical capsule will take up the whole thing pretty much. And then the page background will take up mostly just the top part here, just like the ambient stellar stuff. So I think how I'm going to frame this. That's, I think, how I would like to frame this. I'm going to need a cup of tea after this. So if we go back here, we have all of these. We have all of these framings. This one is very similar to this one, or is that just how the colors are being combined? Yeah, that's just how the colors are being combined. So I think what we want. So what is the ratio of the vertical capsule? So that's probably most of the basis for what we're going to actually do at the canvas level. All right, so the vertical is approximately 5:6. It's a ratio of 0.835 to 1, which is about 5:6 when rounded, which is 0.833. So if we go for an approximately 5:6 canvas, so I think what I want to do is I want to start by centering this about here, approximately here. Actually, I don't want to move the whole thing. I want to move this. I want to see. I want to make sure I'm in the center. Pretty hard to make sure you're in the center here. There we go. Okay, so here's the vertical capsule frame centered. This is 748 by 896. So what if we started with the capsule size, capsule art size, canvas size of like I want to start with like maybe 720. I'm going to what's 720 divided by 5? I guess that's maybe a shitty way to choose. 144. Okay. And what's that times 6? So just for arbitrary's sake, I am going to make a capsule art canvas thing. It's going to be 720 by 864. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. God. 720, 864. And we'll position it to be centered. We'll have to scale this down, but I think this is a reasonable place to start. Capsule art canvas, we'll just put a white background here. So we have an approximate canvas, and then the deal is going to be we are going to need to scale these things down to fit. So we can start with the header. Where's the header? The header's here. So we're gonna, this is gonna be more towards the bottom. So it's too big right now, so let's scale it down a little. We want it to be fully contained within here. So something like that. It's going to be approximate, but something like this. Center it as much as we can. Oh, whoa, look at us. We got someone else we can ban. Popular today. Load the photon torpedoes. Target all weapons. Ready, aim, fire.
He's dead, Jim.
Yes, he is dead. All right, so yeah, like this one, like the small capsule frame. I'm not sure if we want to just come in even tighter. I feel like there's a strong argument for doing that. Strong argument for coming in even tighter on the framing. For the small one. So I'm going to leave its relative size intact. And then the main one. So this one also needs to scale down. So we can do something like this. For the main capsule piece. Probably be up more, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. It's not going to be exact. But it's just an idea. We'll have to get exact later. Magic wand out of control. This one needs to be, well, this one could actually just be pretty much the canvas. It seems like we're close to just basically making the vertical capsule like this. It's a little different. It's going to be a little smaller. It certainly can't be bigger, so it'll be a little smaller. Good enough. And then the page background one is going to be like the upper section. So make this smaller so that it fits. It'll be something like this. Something like this. Just do the bundle one last here. So there's going to be some kind of very tight, very straightforward framing that like most of these exist around. So like most of these framings are going to be around, you know, Jonesy and Ripley in the center. There's going to be some visual focus in the center. And so most of these are in the center, right? The bundle assets, the header capsule, the small capsule, the main capsule. The vertical capsule will pretty much capture the whole canvas, more or less. And then the page background will be just these background elements that are up here. That'll be like very far away. It'll be like stars and planets and things, which will be nice for a store background or page background. It's kind of how I'm envisioning this. Now, the thing we have to figure out, we're like, okay, so here's approximately what we got going on. Now, what is the resolution we paint at, right? What is the resolution that we paint at? And stuff from this could change. Like, I think the most likely thing to change would be for the small capsule framing to get even tighter, to get like really tight. Just because of how low res the small capsule frame is. Hey, what up, Jacob? How's it going? It's been a minute. We're doing some mock-ups of the doorbell notification. I think someone's trying to deliver a package. See if opening the data door will be enough for them. What did I even buy? Who even is this? Sorry. Mock-ups of the doorbell. I know. Sorry, Jacob. We went through all of the... I'm so tired and unfocused. I'm so ready for the weekend. We went through all of the capsule art requirements for a Steam page. I looked at like the size of them, the aspect ratios of them, you know, how to approach building one piece of art that can be, you know, chopped up in all these different things. And so the way we're thinking about approaching it, including this like background page that you may or may not need. And I've been thinking about it, and that's what we did here is I was like, okay, so like if we have this canvas, let's probably make the canvas kind of close to the vertical. And then let's probably cluster things like the header, the small capsule, the main capsule. Let's cluster them all probably down towards the bottom of the piece, which is where we'll have all the visual, the foreground, interesting visual stuff. And then let's do like the page background element. Let's do it at the top so that we can have like, because what I'm thinking of is we'll have our characters behind our characters seated like at the pilot seat of the ship. So the ship will be like down here. It'll be a view of them behind like the canopy or something. And then you'll see the outlines of the ship around here. You'll probably have a background element up here of like stellar stuff of like maybe a nebula or probably more likely like a star and some planets and things like that in the background. And then we can sample that for the page background part. And then we can put all of the tighter capsule art down here focused around this central character. don't know what's going on outside. But I'm not going to worry about it. How are you doing, Jacob? You ready for a Ludum Dare next week? Wait, next weekend? You're actually just dealing with this stuff since you commissioned someone to make those? Yeah, it's really confusing. I'm making one piece of art, and I'm going to just chop it up for all of these. That's pretty much what it seems like you have to do. It doesn't seem like a truly hard requirement, but it seems like a suggestion. It might be a hard requirement, though, because they specify that, at least for the small capsule, the art in the small capsule does not need to be the same as your other capsules. Which to me kind of implies that the other capsules do need to be the same. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we're planning around that. Now I got to think about... like, after that, we got to think about screenshots, which is going to be tough. But screenshots are going to be harder than the capsule art, I can tell you. I can tell you right now. You're probably skipping Ludum. Just doesn't work timing-wise this time, for sure. You're doing solo dev next month. I'm probably doing both. I think solo dev will be my cooldown, because I love the solo development jam, because, you know, I can use art packs and stuff. It's not such a demanding, difficult production problem. It's more of a creative art problem. There's someone literally just waiting outside. I don't know what they want. I don't want to deal with it. Come back later. You see Ludum Dare is ending in 2028. I saw the announcement. To be fair, he also said he feels obligated to do things in April. Like, he was like, I think in April, you know, I just have to do something in April. And I'm like, okay, so you mean we're also going to be doing Ludum Dare 65 in April of 2029? So yeah, I don't know. I hear the idea is that it won't be a regular every, you know, semi-annual event every 6 months after 2028. So I don't know. That felt like non-news news, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I think I'm going to do Ludum Dare. It's just 48 hours, and I really need to prove to myself that I can do it. Because I only did it once, and it feels at this point like it was beginner's luck that I made it through the compo. But I want to do it again. Okay, I think this person's leaving. Okay, good. All right, leave me alone. Yeah, it was confusing. But yeah, I'll be happy to do Ludum Dare. I'll be even happier to do Solo Development Jam next month. And then I think I'm not going to do a jam for a while. Probably till like September or something. I think I need to take some time off. Because I got about 80 days to make a Steam page here, according to my own requirements and my own deadlines. 48 hours would be the only one you could do also, but you also don't really want to share source, etc. if you like the project. I don't mind that, because I don't think I'll ever do such serious post-jam support again, like I did with my first Ludum Dare game. But I get it, especially if you have a lot of stuff that you use to help make jams. If you have a lot of templates and cool stuff that you don't want to share out. I don't. I always tell myself I will, and then I never do. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to do another Ludum Dare. All right, so what scale is this piece? Because here's the other thing that I'm not actually sure about. I've kind of made these approximately the width of the canvas. I don't know if that's honestly what we're gonna do. What would probably make sense would be to make this half, maybe, like, it might make sense to do 640 by 360 here, and to also do 640 by 360 up here, because then that means this shot is like one game screen. You could also do half that though. Maybe I do half that. Maybe we do this whole thing as 360 tall. And then so this part would be 180 tall. And then that would make it 320 wide. That feels too big still. We need our capsule art to be so small that even when we down res it with these capsule images, these framings, that we still get a fairly crisp look. It's not gonna be perfect, but it needs to be fairly crisp. So what if we took this thing? What if we took this part? And what if we scaled it down? What if we scaled it down to like 320? Well, I wanted to scale it. I didn't want to actually change it. What if we scaled it down to like, if it's 320 wide, how tall is it? 320 by 385? 180, 360. No, 640 becomes 320. 370 something. What if we just made it 320 by 360? The way your guy did it, they just adjusted the characters, etc. to fit each capsule, so they had many compositions, but all the same idea. Yeah, that seems to be the common way to do it. I'm trying to do it as pretty much one piece that we just frame and crop differently. Just for me, it would be better if I could do it pretty much as one piece, right? So we'll start with 320 by 360. I think that makes sense to start here. So then we got to do the same thing again. Bringing it all down and in here. I have some regrets the way I did this. Well, maybe we just hide all of this shit for now. I think the next thing we do is we just try to paint the scene a little bit. But like, how big is this? Like, what if how big is it to put just like, let's just put Ripley here, right? Ripley's kind of our baseline in terms of scale. So we just put Ripley here. Ripley is this big. Okay, this is still way too big. Let's take this again. Hey, Matthew Sparks. Happy Friday. Yeah, you as well. Thank you. So what's half of the thing that I did before? 320 by 360. So that'd be 180 by 160. That might be close to correct. It needs to be a relatively small piece. All right, now what if we dumped Ripley into this? This I think I can work with, because it would be Ripley at the console or at their chair, seated, with the composition is the idea that it's Ripley seated with like Jonesy like in her lap or maybe across the back of the chair or something. Some silly cat pose. And Ripley at the controls. And you seeing them like through the canopy or something like that, a lightly tinted canopy. That's the idea. We might not be able to do the canopy. That might manipulate things too much. But there would be room for them here. There'd be a little room for some of the ship details. We could show the scale a little bit. We'd probably end up tightening up things. This is also maybe too big. This is maybe still too big. I don't know. Sorry, I know this is like agonizingly boring. And I'm not fishing for someone to say, oh, it's okay, it's not boring. So the idea is that most of our capsule arts are cropped and framed onto the lower half, which is where the ship is and the crew and everything that's happening. And then the top half is like stellar background stuff. So we can use both for the vertical. No, I just have a lot of self-consciousness when I'm working on something and I don't think I know what I'm doing. Early on when I started streaming, I'm like, Dave, you should always know what you're doing when you're streaming. You should only ever do things that you like have an idea about and that you can work on with confidence. That went out the window so long ago, but I still have this like discomfort that I have to just sit with about doing that. Okay, I think this is also still too big. We're gonna cut it down one more time. I think if we cut it down any more, it will just be silly. We're gonna try cutting down one more time. It also doesn't have to be this perfectly even number, right? That's something I need to be, clear on. Let's try 80 by 90. That's crazy, but let's try it. That's like probably way too tight a framing. But it might be good. It might be good. You're the same way, Nanigans? Yeah, I feel that. Okay, how big are you relative to this framing? Okay, this I feel like I can work with because I can have Jonesy and Ripley seated here in like the center. God, I hate the wand tool. I can have them seated, occupying the center of the frame, like this. Have like a window that you can see them through. Have like enough of the exterior of the ship that you can fill in the sides with the title, like lo-fi, flyby. I think I'll do title on each side. I could maybe frame it and do title above for some of them, for like the main one. Frame it, do like title above. And then the vertical will be, the vertical. Is this still approximately the ratio of the vertical? It is, okay. Okay, so this piece that I ended up setting up here is 80 by 90. I think that's a reasonable place to start. I think what we do is we try to maybe sketch out. You'll probably only be able to see the cockpit. But it would be a good starting point because, like I said, I want to do a screenshot that's like, it's like the framing of the capsule, but showing like the whole ship with like an exterior cutaway of like the cargo bay and stuff. And the smaller I make the resolution, the easier it is to do something like that. And I think the tighter cropping makes sense in a lot of ways. Because if the whole thing is like 90 pixels tall, then when we go to make the small capsule, the smallest of which is 120 by 45, we could just take a section like... Stupid wand tool. We could just take a section like really tight. We could take like something like this Actually, that's a good test. A good test of this would be, how can I write lo-fi flyby here, right? Right, can you actually fit the title here? Right. Is there room? Actually, I don't think I like that version of the eye. I think I like this version. You know, like this. Not maybe that quite that tight, but something like that. I mean, something like this for the small. So we take the small capsule. Probably need to be on the small capsule thing here. There we go. We take that and we shrink it proportionally. I kind of want it to be like down to like 15. I want it to be like something like this. Like, can we make it something like this? So that it's like just Jonesy and Ripley and like the title on each side of them. Something like this. And then the other capsules can be similarly framed. Whoa, what happened there? Do something like this. Maybe so the title is above them or something. What happened here? Oh, I have something up. There we go. Something like this, you know? Something like that. I think this is going to be a good starting point. And then tomorrow we can draw it out. It doesn't look like we'll have time to talk about that article I brought up, but so I'll drop it in the Discord. I will make a stream chat channel at some point for this purpose. Okay, and then the vertical one will be like most of this frame. I think this is okay. I think we're figuring out an approach that works for us. This should be about the same size as this thing. Yeah, it is about. Not quite. But close. Page background. We're definitely in uncharted waters for us, which is neat. But I'm very excited to do a lot more work on the art and the UI and to just figure out all of that direction. To just have a mock-up of like what the game looks like to play. Very excited to have something like that. All right, so yeah. So we'll have our background be like this upper section. Most of the framing is going to be this lower section, maybe to the point of which I even drop the... Well, we'll see. This is the idea. And there's one more here. There's the bundle asset one. I'm excited but nervous, is I guess what I would say. Because again, I'm like outside my comfort zone now. My comfort zone is just needling away on like you know, system stuff without much of a concern for deadlines or presentation. This is the first time we're kind of trying to really get serious about this sort of thing. Do something like this. So something like this. I know it's like impossible to see anything, but have something where, you know, we have a canvas, something like this. The vertical capsule takes up pretty much all of it. The main capsule gets like the central part, maybe has the text above, the title above or something. Small capsule is like super tight cropped with just enough room for the title on the side and the characters or something. The regular header capsule giving you just enough of an idea of what's going on. It might even be moved up more so that we can have a little of the stellar background stuff in the back. The stellar background stuff being kind of just the stuff behind and above the ship. But yeah, that's what I think what we'll pick up tomorrow is we'll make a, what did I make this? 80 by 90, something like that. 80 by 90. We'll make an 80 by 90 canvas. And we'll go to town. And 90 is good because our game resolution is 360p. Half that's 180p. Half that's again 90p. So I don't know why that's good. It just feels right. It just feels right. And I'll take it. Really build out the world. Yeah. Establish more stuff visually because we're kind of pivoting a bit, right? Because like the main game is very clearly like in this kind of Star Trek milieu. But the Lo-Fi Flyby is way more like Firefly, way more Serenity, right? Maybe a bit of Red Dwarf. You know, it's a little more civilian, a little more hodunk. Based on the way I make music, it's going to be very like space folksy kind of stuff. Jacob, you've been trying to record a trailer. You goofed it all up. You recorded source with too low of a bit rate, so all your work is burned. Ooh, that hurts. That hurts. That got me. The only time I ever did audio in a game jam so far was for a Following Wind, and I recorded all the audio so quietly that I could not improve it. I know you can make stuff louder, but there's like a limit to that. Like I just didn't. I had set up my, you know, recording equipment in a hurry, and I just recorded everything wrong, and I was just like, I was just boned. Yeah, having the source be done wrong is just like so devastating. Next, you got another round with the double scrap recovery arms. It's a strong opener. That's a strong opener for FTL. All right. The rain has stopped. The sun is out. I gotta go get some laundry going, but we will be back tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow, and we'll start working on our nice piece of pixel art, our piece of capsule art. We'll get it. We'll draw a chair. We'll get Ripley and Jonesy in a really nice pose, and then we'll start to build the ship around them. It'll be nice. It'll be nice. Thanks for the stream. Thanks, Jacob. Thanks for coming in, hanging out. Not sure if you can join in tomorrow. Gonna go to a concert. Oh, that sounds fun. That sounds way more fun than what we're gonna do. Thanks, Smooth, in a second. But yeah, we will be back tomorrow. So I want to thank everyone so much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And see you all next time. Bye.
Maximum warp.